Thank you. Good evening, Senior Chair Torbett and members of the House of Representatives Education Committee. I'm Rebecca Huffstetler, principal of Stanley Middle School, and it is my privilege to welcome you to our school and our community this evening. My mother would tell you that it's okay if you are a Carolina fan, that you don't have to cheer for the Blue Devils, you can simply just cheer for Stanley. And so somehow we make all of that work here, no matter where your allegiance lies. I'm proud to be a lifelong resident of Gaston County, a product of Gaston County Schools, a recipient of the North Carolina Teaching Fellow Scholarship, which provided me, and probably more importantly my parents, with a full scholarship to college. And now I'm in my 24th year as an educator in Gaston County Schools. My time in education started for me in 1981 when I was 5 years old. But for the town of Stanley, the first one-room schoolhouse was built close to 2 miles from here in the 1850s. Education has long been important to our community. Several little community schools, and a little more than a century later, right where home plate now sits on our athletic field, if you passed it when you came in, picture the front door to Hovis Road School, which was built in the early 60s, which first served elementary school students. In 1966, at the time of integration, its name changed to Stanley High School and served all high school students in the Stanley area. In 1972, we opened East Gaston High School, which merged the towns of Stanley and Mount Holly into a feeder high school, and the same school building became Stanley Junior High. And then in 1998, it became Stanley Middle School until March of 2008 when we moved into this beautiful school, which sits on our former athletic complex. And now you see our athletic complex sits where our former school was. It was truly a privilege, an honor, a joy, and so interesting to literally watch our school be built from the ground up. We looked out our back windows every day and saw something new happening to our school. Not only was it fun for myself, our students, and our teachers, but our community to watch something grow this beautiful within our city limits. Again, this state-of-the-art facility is a product of the 2007 bond referendum passed by our county. In August of 2018, we opened our doors as the first middle school choice program in our district that had existed in well over a decade. In 4 years as the STEAM Academy, we have seen our student enrollment increase from 450 students in our community to right at 700 students now. We have over 200 students who choose to attend Stanley even though it is outside of their school attendance zone. In fact, this year, our 8th grade class represents every single attendance zone in our district, and that's something that we are very proud of. Our facility is absolutely stunning, but it's what happens inside this building every single day, which is what makes it so impactful. It's the quality of educators, it's the high-level instruction, which allows parents to make the choice to drive to Stanley twice a day. And for many of you, you understand this is not convenient to find. We aren't close to much, but they choose to drive here twice a day so that their students can receive this education here. And it's also what allows the members of our community to continue to choose Stanley Middle School as the best place for their children to receive middle school instruction. You see, long before we had a global pandemic, our students had a personal Chromebook assigned to them that they were already taking back and forth. Our teachers were well versed in how to use online instruction. And as I told our staff so many times in those first days of the pandemic, our hard work has paid off. Taking the risk for instruction has worked for us. Making a shift in educational thinking and educational instruction has worked, and it has continued to serve us time and time again. Our students reap the benefits of personalized learning. Personalized learning is when students are given choices in how they learn a content standard, but also how they practice it and how they show their learning. So very simply stated, all of you had the same standard today, which was to get to Stanley Middle School to start this meeting at 5 o'clock. But every single one of you took a different way to get here. But you were all successful. And that's what personalized learning is. The standard is the same for every child, but the way they learn it is the way that is best for them. But most of all, our students and teachers both enjoy hands-on learning. 8th grade shark dissections. Last week, our 7th grade students finished a project-based learning unit on informational text literature from ELA that centered on space. And together they submitted questions to Jim Kitchen, who was the university professor who took flight through Blue Origin. And they all watched that space launch last week. And it was so interesting to sit with him and listen to their questions. And lots of them knew. I asked the question, how do you think his wife felt? And one of them said, well, he signed a prenuptial agreement 25 years ago that if he wanted to go in space, his wife would not argue with him about it. Well, who knew? But the 7th graders did, because they were invested in their learning about informational text. Next week, they're going to set off water-fueled rockets from our baseball field, all stemmed around language arts concepts. Our 6th graders use decks of cards to learn mean, median, mode, range, and complete box, whisker, and dot plot diagrams. Our 8th grade students have learned the parts of government and especially judicial systems by putting Edgar Allan Poe on trial. Our 8th grade math students use the railing from the 2nd floor and learn the Pythagorean theorem by ziplining Barbies down the front entrance every year to learn how to do the right angle of a triangle. We like it when they're successful. That same standard is also used for students to create city maps using graphs and diagrams. Our cruel arts students perform at home athletic events and also in our community. Our 7th grade earth and environmental science students are invested in building a greenhouse out of plastic bottles. And one day we're going to finish it. And if any of you would like to drink more Sundrop and send those to us, we would certainly appreciate it. These same students shape the soil and water contents from our local creek beds, and recently they have taken up birding. Yes, they can tell you every bird that has a nesting habitat in our community. And more importantly, they care. Who would think that 7th graders would care what birds were in their community? But they do, and they are excited about it. Last month for our March Madness reading, our students read over 327,000 pages just last month. And our Learning Commons saw an 85% increase in circulation in our library, and the conversation about books and reading and what teachers are reading and students are reading was quite amazing. And now, because it's Poetry Month and a new genre focus, we will be having the Masked Poet competition for our students. Our students also enjoy the Makerspace, which is 90% donation space and 10% materials purchased for students to make hands-on learning objects such as simple machines. Our core students go in there and make a replication of the human body and then use balloons to show how it's important to use their lungs when they sing to get full capacity. They recreate settings from stories, and well, they can about make anything you want from there. From the time I was 5 years old, I've been impacted, just like our students are today, by Gaston County Schools. I have a mentor in my life today who was my teacher. She then became my principal, and later she was my direct supervisor, and she continues to invest in me today. I have high school friends who I currently teach with at Stanley Middle School. I am my longtime friend's children's principal. I have hired former students to teach in schools where I have served as principal. Simply, I am here today because people along the way have invested in me. And now, 24 years later, it's a joy to continue to invest in others. This circle I am proud to be a part of validates my long-held belief that when it comes to education, nothing impacts a student more than a positive relationship with a high-quality person who is also a highly qualified educator. And when a highly qualified educator is provided with and effectively trained to use high-quality resources, the impact on students is even greater. And that high-quality and highly qualified educator is valued at a high-quality level that allows all of us to retain, grow, and flourish these impactful individuals. On behalf of all of us who find education to be a passion and our purpose, thank you for the work that you do and continue to do for our students, our educators, and our community. Welcome again to Gaston County and to Stanley Middle School. And now I would like to introduce you to our Superintendent of Gaston County Schools, Dr. Jeffrey Booker.
Thank you.